Sophia stood at the edge of the stage, her palms damp with sweat, her breath coming in shallow bursts. The bright stage lights blinded her, casting the audience into an intimidating blur of indistinct faces. Hundreds of eyes were on her, waiting, expecting, judging. The silence in the room was suffocating, wrapping around her like an invisible noose. Her heart pounded against her ribcage, a frantic rhythm of fear. She gripped the microphone like a lifeline, but her fingers trembled. The speech, carefully memorized and rehearsed 100 times in front of her mirror, now felt like a distant, unreachable memory. Words she had once known so well dissolved into nothingness, swallowed by the storm of her own doubt.
What if I forget my words? What if they laugh at me? What if I fail?
The questions echoed in her mind, louder than the hushed murmurs rippling through the crowd.
I used to hide behind the silence, afraid to let them hear my name. Every whisper felt like thunder, every step was filled with shame. But something inside me kept burning, a voice too strong to ignore. And though my hands were shaking, I knew I couldn't run anymore.
Her legs felt like lead, her body frozen in place. A bead of sweat trickled down the back of her neck, sending a shiver through her spine. For years, she had stayed in the background, blending into the shadows, never daring to step forward. It was safer there. No risk, no embarrassment, no failure. But today, she had made a promise, to herself, to her mother, to her best friend, Lily. Taking a shaky breath, she dared to glance at her mother in the front row. Her mother's warm, reassuring smile cut through the panic, a beacon of support in the storm of her anxiety. Sophia clenched her jaw, forcing herself to focus on that one face, on that unwavering belief. She had come this far. Could she really turn back now? Sophia had always been a quiet child, the kind who sat in the back of the classroom, never raising her hand even when she knew the answer. She had grown up in a small town, raised by a single mother who worked tirelessly to provide for them. Her mother, Amelia, had always encouraged her to be bold, to take risks, to believe in herself, but self-doubt had been Sophia's constant companion. Books had been her refuge. She found solace in stories, in the voices of characters who were fearless and strong. She longed to be like them, to step beyond the pages and into a world where she wasn't held back by fear. But reality was different. She had been bullied in middle school for being too shy, too reserved. The sting of whispered taunts and mocking laughter had made her withdraw even further. Lily had been her first real friend, the one who refused to let Sophia fade into the background. They met in high school when Lily, with her boundless energy and relentless optimism, dragged Sophia into a conversation during lunch. It was Lily who had convinced her to join the school's writing club, where Sophia discovered her passion for storytelling. Writing became her voice when she couldn't speak. But Lily knew that Sophia's talent deserved to be heard, not just read. When the school announced a speech competition, Lily had signed Sophia up before she could protest.
It's time, sophomore. You can't hide forever.
Lily had said, squeezing her hand.
You have something to say. And people need to hear it.
Sophia had wanted to back out 100 times. But her mother's unwavering belief and Lily's fierce encouragement had kept her from running. Now, standing on that stage, she was about to face her greatest fear. The first word stuck in her throat, thick and heavy like a stone. The silence stretched unbearably, the weight of the crowd pressing against her chest, squeezing her lungs until she felt she might suffocate. The microphone trembled in her grasp, its presence a cruel reminder of the words she was supposed to say, but couldn't. A murmur rippled through the audience. A chair scraped. A cough. The sounds filled the empty void where her voice should have been. Her throat constricted as her vision swam, the stage tilting beneath her feet.
I can't do this.
She thought, the words screaming in her mind, drowning out everything else. Her grip on the microphone loosened, her fingers numb. The walls of the auditorium seemed to close in around her, each second stretching into eternity. Then, soft but strong, cutting through the noise of her fear, came a voice.
You can, Sophia.
Lily. The certainty in her best friend's voice was like an anchor, pulling Sophia back from the abyss. It steadied her, forcing her to breathe. She clung to it, drawing strength from the unwavering belief in those 3 simple words. Her heartbeat still pounded in her ears.
Will I rise again? All the words that once escaped me, now they flow so free and bold. I am more than all my failures. I am stories still untold. And though my heart was once so broken, and fear had tied me in chains.
But she took a breath, a deep one, and then another. Her grip tightened around the microphone, no longer out of fear but determination. She forced her lips to move. The first word came out, fragile as a whisper, but it was there. Then another, and another. Her voice wavered, shaking under the weight of her lingering fear. But she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Each word was a battle won, each sentence a step forward. Slowly, her voice grew stronger, steadier. The whispers in the crowd faded. The suffocating silence was replaced with something else, something warmer. Encouragement. Understanding. She wasn't just speaking now. She was being heard. A surge of energy rushed through Sophia as she continued, her words now steady and clear. The room, which had once felt suffocating, now seemed to breathe with her. For the first time, she wasn't just surviving the moment. She was embracing it. She looked into the audience, really seeing them. The expressions staring back at her weren't filled with scrutiny or mockery, as she had feared. Instead, she saw eyes widened with interest, heads nodding in agreement, faces softened with encouragement. They weren't waiting for her to fail. They were listening. The realization sent a spark of warmth through her chest. She straightened her back, her voice growing in strength. The words that had once felt like a burden now flowed effortlessly, like they had always belonged to her. She spoke about her love for writing, about the stories that had shaped her, about the fears that had held her back for so long. With every sentence, she shed another layer of doubt, replacing it with something new, something powerful. Confidence. By the time she reached the final lines of her speech, she could hear her own voice ringing with conviction. The girl who had once trembled at the thought of speaking had vanished, replaced by someone who stood tall, someone who believed in herself. She took a deep breath, savoring the moment before she spoke the last sentence. It left her lips with an undeniable certainty, echoing through the hall like a promise to herself. The silence that followed stretched for a heartbeat, then another. Sophia felt her breath hitch, doubt clawing at the edges of her newfound confidence. Had she truly done enough? Had they believed in her words as much as she had? Then, like a wave crashing against the shore, the applause erupted. It wasn't polite or hesitant. It was thunderous, an explosion of appreciation that sent a rush of heat to her cheeks. As she stepped off the stage, Lily rushed to her side, pulling her into a fierce hug.
I knew you could.
Lily's voice was thick with emotion, her arms tight around Sophia. A laugh bubbled from Sophia's lips, filled with relief, triumph, and something else, pure, unfiltered joy. She exhaled slowly, the words coming naturally this time, carrying the full weight of her journey.
I can.
And for the first time in her life, she truly believed it. As Sophia walked through the school halls the next day, she noticed something different. People who had never spoken to her before were smiling at her, some even stopping to congratulate her on her speech. Teachers nodded at her with approval, and a few younger students approached her with wide eyes, telling her how much she had inspired them. Sophia realized that her moment on stage had changed more than just her. It had reached others, too. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of being seen. Because she knew now she could.
I can stand, I can rise, I can look into